My precious child, there is something I want you to remember for the rest of your life, something so important that I never wanted to leave your heart. You are surrounded by a world that is constantly racing forward. Every day it pushes, pulls, and demands your attention from every possible direction. People expect everything to happen instantly. They want meals at their doorstep within minutes. They expect money to appear in their bank accounts without delay. They want every prayer answered before another sunrise. And when life refuses to move at the speed they desire, disappointment quickly turns into frustration, anger, and resentment. Little by little, that restless spirit of impatience has found its way into your own heart without you realizing it. Now you carry a weariness that was never meant to belong to you. Your patience runs thin. Small inconveniences upset you. Minor delays feel unbearable. One unexpected problem has the power to overshadow your entire day. My beloved, I have watched every moment of your struggle. I know how drained you have become from trying to keep pace with a world that never seems satisfied, a race that offers no true finish. That is why I am asking you, right here and right now, to pause. Stop chasing for just a moment. Quiet your heart. Come sit with me, because there are truths your soul has longed to hear for far too long. I will not speak to you with confusing words or complicated ideas. I will speak to you as a loving father speaks to the child he treasures beyond measure, with honesty, gentleness, and a love deeper than anything this world has ever known. Let us begin by talking about love. Not the kind of love that exists only when life feels easy or perfect, and not the kind celebrated in stories that fades when hardships arrive. I am speaking of a love that chooses compassion even when someone treats you unfairly. A love that responds with calm when another driver cuts you off without care. A love that answers a harsh message from a coworker with patience instead of bitterness. This kind of love does not come naturally to human nature. The part of you that reacts without thinking wants to defend itself. It wants revenge. It wants to prove a point and make sure others feel the weight of their mistakes. But today I am inviting you to choose a different response. Allow my love to become the first thing that rises from within you whenever life presses against you. Picture a clear glass overflowing with fresh, pure water. If someone accidentally bumps into that glass, only the water already inside can spill out. A glass filled with clean water cannot suddenly pour out mud. Whatever fills it is exactly what will overflow. In the same way, I want your heart to become so full of my love, my peace, and my kindness that even when pain, disappointment, or hardship collide with you, what flows from your life is still beautiful. That is the work I am doing within you. This is a fruit of my spirit. And real fruit is never produced overnight. Just as a tree does not bear ripe mangoes a day after seed is planted, spiritual growth unfolds through seasons. It requires time, rain, sunshine, perseverance, and patient waiting. So do not lose heart while the process is still unfolding. My child, every season has a purpose, and I am faithfully working in each one. If these messages have encouraged your heart and strengthened your faith, you can help continue this mission of sharing my word through the KOFI or PayPal links found in the description and pinned comment. Thank you for walking this journey together. Now I want to speak to you about joy, because many people have misunderstood what true joy really means. So often they believe joy is simply feeling happy every moment of every day. They imagine it means walking through life without life, as though nothing could ever go wrong while hiding the pain inside. That is not true joy. It is only a disguise. Genuine joy reaches far beneath your emotions. It is stronger than circumstances and steadier than feelings. Imagine the ocean during a violent storm. At the surface, towering waves crash against one another. Fierce winds roar without mercy, and everything appears chaotic. Yet far below, resting on the ocean floor, a massive rock remained completely unmoved. It is untouched by the storm above. That is the kind of joy I desire to place within you. When your finances are stretched so thin that unpaid bills cover the table and your resources seem to dissipate, joy can still remain because you know I have always been your provider, and I have never abandoned you. When a doctor shares news that fills your heart with fear and leaves you speechless, joy can still live inside you because your life is safely held in my hands, and I am the one who brings healing. When loneliness feels so overwhelming that you sit alone in your car with tears running down your face, believing there is no one left to call, joy can still be yours because I have never left your side. I am nearer than your next breath, surrounding you with my presence even when no one else is there. This is not denial. It is not pretending everything is perfect. It is a deep and unwavering confidence that no matter how broken this world becomes, my victory has already been secured. Because I have overcome, you share in that victory as well. Now I want to speak to you about patience, because I know how difficult this lesson has been for your heart. You are living through a season of waiting, and you know it. There is something you have been bringing before me in prayer again and again. You have remained faithful. You have worked diligently. You have tried to do what is right. Yet the answer you long for still seems delayed. Inside you is a temptation to take control, to force the outcome, to make the opportunity appear before its proper time. You want the door to open because you are ready to walk through it. My precious child, stop exhausting yourself by pushing against a door that I have not yet opened. When the right moment arrives, nothing in heaven or on earth will have the power to keep that door closed. But until then, every attempt to force it will only leave you weary and may even slow the work I am doing within you. Patience is not the absence of action. It is faithfully doing what you are being called to do while quietly trusting me with the results. It is choosing peace instead of panic while my timing unfolds. Think of a farmer planting seeds in the ground. He never expects a harvest before the day is over. He plants with hope, waters faithfully, cares for the soil, endures changing weather, and waits through long days and restless nights because he understands that growth begins long before it can be seen. Beneath the surface, the seed is already alive, developing in ways invisible to the human eye. That is exactly how I am working in your life. Even when you cannot see visible evidence, I am accomplishing things in places hidden from your sight. While you wait, I want you to focus on something that matters greatly. Be faithful with what is already in your hands. Serve wholeheartedly where you are today instead of believing your purpose begins somewhere else. Do not postpone making a difference until you have a larger audience. Do not wait until your income increases before choosing generosity. Do not believe you need a higher position before offering your very best. Begin where you stand. Begin today. The person who serves meals with genuine kindness and treats every customer with dignity is doing work that honors me. The mother who rises before sunrise to prepare her children for the day with love and care is doing work that honors me. The young man who stays late because he values excellence rather than recognition is doing work that honors me. Whatever your occupation may be, when it is done with a sincere heart devoted to me, it becomes an act of worship. Never forget this truth. The place where you are today is not the result of chance. I did not mistakenly place you in your family, your neighborhood, your workplace, or your city. I positioned you there with intention. There are people in your life who need something that only you can offer. Your experiences, your hardships, your testimony, and your unique journey have prepared you for a purpose that no one else can fulfill. Your unique story, the battles you have overcome, the sound of your voice, even the warmth of your smile have all been intentionally woven together so you can reach the very people I have placed around you in this season. Stop believing your purpose begins only when the entire world notices you. The calling I have given you starts with the lives directly in front of you. That is where your greatest impact is made, and that is where your ministry truly begins. Before I continue, I want to remind you of something. If these words are strengthening your heart, bringing you peace, and helping you draw closer to me, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel today. Turn on notifications so you do not miss the messages I shared each week, because there are more words of hope, encouragement, and truth waiting to meet you exactly when you need them. You are not listening to this by coincidence. I have guided you here for a reason. Now stay with me, because there is still much more I want to place upon your heart. My precious child, let us talk about the voice that speaks inside your mind. You know exactly which one I mean. It becomes the loudest when everything around you grows quiet. When the lights are off, the day has ended, and you are left alone with your thoughts. That voice enjoys replaying every failure you have ever experienced. It projects your worst memories before your eyes again and again. It whispers that you are pretending, that you are damaged beyond repair, that you have made far too many mistakes for someone like me to truly love you. It reminds you of the hidden things no one else knows, convincing you those secret failures have permanently separated you from my goodness. Too often, you believe what it says. You allow those accusations to stack one upon another until shame and guilt feel so heavy that they steal your peace and leave your heart struggling to breathe. But today I want you to silence that voice once and for all. It has never spoken the truth. From the beginning, it has been built on lies. Whenever those accusations return, answer them with what is true instead. This is a truth I want you to remember. There is no condemnation waiting for you in me. None at all. When I forgave you, I did not forgive only part of your past while secretly keeping a record of everything you had done wrong. I did not erase some failures while saving others to remind you of them later. My forgiveness was complete. Every mistake, every moment of weakness, every hidden sin, every promise you failed to keep, every time you stumbled, I gathered them all and removed them completely. I cast them so far away that they are no longer counted against you. It is finished. I am not holding your past over your head anymore. So why do you continue carrying what I have already taken away? Why do you keep carrying the burden of a past I have already removed? Why do you return again and again to recover the very things I have chosen to leave behind forever? My child, your identity is not found in your darkest moment. It is not written by your greatest mistake. It is not determined by the wounds others inflicted on you or by the painful decisions you made during seasons when your heart was broken and you felt desperate. None of those things have the final word over your life. Your true identity is rooted in something far greater and far more lasting, my love for you. That love does not rise and fall with your performance. You did not earn it by doing everything right, and you cannot lose it because of the times you fall short. My love simply exists. It has always surrounded you, and it will never come to an end. I want you to begin speaking to yourself with the same kindness and truth that I speak over you. I call you chosen. I call you deeply loved. I call you my own. I call you victorious through me. I see you as a treasured child, fully equipped for the purpose I prepared. If I do not condemn you with harsh words, then you should no longer condemn yourself either. The next time you stand before a mirror, do not search for flaws or remind yourself of everything you believe is wrong. Instead, lift your eyes and boldly declare, I am forgiven. I am loved. I am chosen. I am enough because God is with me. Speak those words even when your emotions resist them. In fact, speak them especially on the days when you struggle to believe them, because truth does not depend on how you feel. Truth remains unchanging whether your feelings agree with it or not. Now I also want to talk to you about time, because I know how often you fear that life is passing you by. You look around and see friends, classmates, co-workers, and people your own age reaching milestones that you have been praying for. They receive promotions, build families, welcome children, purchase homes, and travel to places you have only dreamed of seeing. Meanwhile, you feel as though you are standing in the same place, offering the same prayers, waiting for the same answers, wondering if anything will ever change. Slowly, anxiety begins to tighten around your heart. You worry that your opportunity is disappearing, that your best years are slipping away while everyone else seems to move ahead. My beloved child, stop measuring your life by someone else's calendar. Their journey is not your journey. Their timing is not your timing. Your life unfolds according to mine, and my timing has never failed. Every opportunity that closed before you was not meant to punish you. It was there to protect you. Every season of waiting was never evidence that I had forgotten you. It was proof that I was carefully preparing both your heart and the blessing I have for you so they would meet at exactly the right moment. A flower cannot be forced to bloom before its appointed season, no matter how desperately someone wishes it would. No matter how much you long for the morning, you cannot make the sun rise before its appointed time. You cannot hurry the changing of the seasons, and you cannot pressure me to act before the moment I have chosen. What you can do is place your trust in me. You can remain faithful while you wait. You can continue growing, preparing, and allowing me to shape you into the person who will be ready to receive the blessing when the time is right. Never forget that there's a tremendous difference between being buried and being planted. From the outside, they may appear identical. A seed hidden beneath the soil looks no different whether it has been discarded or intentionally sown. Both are covered by darkness. Both are out of sight. Both wait beneath the surface. Yet one has no future, while the other carries a promise of an entire forest within it. My beloved, you have not been buried. You have been planted. I placed you in fertile ground with my own hands. I am caring for you, nourishing you, and watching over every stage of your growth. When the right season arrives, you will break through the surface and reach toward the light exactly as I intended. There is something else I want you to understand, and I share it not to fill you with fear, but to prepare your heart with wisdom. Storms are a part of every life. No one walks through this world without facing moments of pain, loss, disappointment, or hardship. You have witnessed it in the lives of others. You have seen ordinary days interrupted by a single phone call that changed everything. You have watched people who seemed strong and secure suddenly find themselves overwhelmed by sickness, betrayal, or grief. Deep within, you know that every person will eventually face their own storm. The question has never been whether difficulties will come. The real question is whether your roots have grown deep enough to keep you standing when they do. So examine your heart honestly. Ask yourself what your life is truly anchored to. I see many people placing their security in things that cannot last. Some trust their careers. Others depend on their savings, their relationships, their health, their youth, or their own strength. Yet every one of those things can change in an instant. When they disappear, those who built their identity upon them are left with nothing solid to hold. They collapse because shifting sand can never support an anchor. I am calling you to anchor your soul to something that can never be shaken or taken away. Build your life upon my eternal and unchanging truth. Hold tightly to the promise that I will never leave you. Remember that my love does not become greater when life is going well, nor does it grow weaker when everything falls apart. It remains constant, unwavering, and unconditional forever. That is the anchor that will carry you through every storm. Then, when fierce wind begin to blow and waves crash against your life, you will not be swept away by fear. Instead, you will stand with quiet strength. Others will notice your peace in the middle of chaos, and they will be drawn to the hope they see within you because they recognize that your life is resting upon something that cannot fail. There is one more truth I want to impress upon your heart because many people overlook it during life's hardest seasons. I want to speak to you about praise, about worship, about lifting your voice to me when circumstances seem at their darkest. This is one of the greatest spiritual weapons I have given you, yet so many neglect it precisely when they need it most. Consider what praise really costs. When life feels comfortable, your family is healthy, your needs are met, and your heart is full, thanking comes naturally. Gratitude is easy when everything seems to be going well. Even those who do not know me often feel thankful during good times. But what happens when the situation is completely different? What happens when you are sitting in a hospital waiting room after receiving frightening news? What happens when you open your bank account again and again, hoping the numbers have somehow changed, only to find the same discouraging reality? What happens when someone you deeply trusted wounds your heart beyond words? Choosing to praise me in those moments requires a true sacrifice. It asks you to surrender your pride and the part of you that wants only to question, complain, or cry out in despair. Yet because that praise costs so much, it carries extraordinary value. That is why Scripture calls it a sacrifice of praise. When you choose, in the middle of your darkest night, to declare with your own voice that I am good, that I remain faithful, and that I am still in control, something powerful begins to happen beyond what your eyes can see. The darkness that has wrapped itself around your heart starts to loosen its grip. The lies whispered by the enemy lose their power. The atmosphere around you, in your home, in your car, and even within your own mind, begins to change. Not because you have forced yourself to feel happy, but because you have proclaimed the truth. You have declared that your circumstances do not determine what is ultimately real. My truth does, and that changes everything. So the next time you are washing dishes while your heart feels burdened with worry, lift your voice to me. Sing if you can. If all you know is a few words of a simple song, let those words rise from your heart. Speak my name aloud. Tell me that you trust me. Remind yourself that I am good. Then watch how the weight upon your shoulders begins to grow lighter. Watch the shadows lose their hold. Watch my peace, the peace that goes beyond human understanding and cannot be explained by your circumstances. Settle gently over your heart like a warm blanket wrapped around you on a cold night. Do not wait until the breakthrough arrives before giving thanks. Choose gratitude while you are still waiting. Give thanks in the middle of uncertainty. Give thanks even when there is not yet a single visible sign that your situation is changing, improving, because gratitude is not simply a response to favorable circumstances. Gratitude is a declaration of who I am, and my nature never changes. I am always good. I am always faithful. I am always at work, even in the seasons when you cannot see a single sign that anything is happening, though your eyes may not yet recognize it. My hands have never stopped moving on your behalf. We remain devoted to sharing hope, strengthening faith, and proclaiming the message of Jesus Christ with people across the world. If you would like to help us continue this mission, you can support it through the KOFI or PayPal links provided below. Your generosity is deeply appreciated and reaches further than you may ever realize. And now, my beloved, let me pause for a moment to speak directly to you. If you are listening today and these words are finding a place deep within your heart, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel if you have not already done so. Turn on notifications so each new message reaches you as soon as it is shared. This is more than a collection of videos. It is a place where weary hearts can return for hope, where confusion is met with truth, and where those who feel overwhelmed can be reminded of who they are and who I have always been. You did not arrive here by chance. I have led you here with purpose. Stay connected, because there is still so much I want to share with you. My precious child, now I want to speak about something your soul desperately needs: true rest. Not only the kind that comes from sleeping through the night, although that is important too, but the deep and lasting rest that reaches the very center of your soul. It is a kind of peace that many people have forgotten how to experience because the world has taught them to live at an exhausting pace. From an early age, you have been told that your value depends on how much you accomplish. You have been led to believe that the harder you work, the more successful you become, the more worthy you are. You have heard that resting is a sign of weakness and that if you ever slow down, everyone else will move ahead without you. Little by little, you have become so focused on doing that you have forgotten how to simply be. You keep pushing long after your body has warned you to stop. You ignore your exhaustion. You set aside the very things that refresh your spirit because another task is always waiting to be completed. Then you wonder why your heart feels so drained and empty. My child, I created your body, your mind, and your spirit. I know exactly how they were designed to function. What you need is not endless striving. What you need is healthy rhythm, a rhythm that includes diligent work followed by intentional rest, generous giving balanced by receiving, pouring yourself out while also allowing me to fill you again. This rhythm has been part of my design from the very beginning. I rested on the seventh day, not because I lacked strength or became weary, but because I wanted to show you what a healthy and flourishing life looks like. Rest was never meant to be something you earn after finally accomplishing enough. It is a gift I lovingly built into the pattern of your life. When you continually refuse to receive that gift, you are not becoming more productive. You are slowly wearing yourself down. Imagine what it would feel like to set everything aside for an entire day. Put your phone away without constantly reaching for it. Close the computer. Stop replaying tomorrow's responsibilities, unpaid bills, unfinished projects, or problems that still have no answers. Step outside and let the warmth of the sunlight touch your face. Listen carefully as the wind moves through the trees. Sit beside flowing water and simply watch it move. Breathe slowly and deeply. Then remember something that will bring peace to your heart. You are not the one holding this universe together. I am, and I have never failed at that responsibility. I do not need your anxious thoughts to keep the stars in place. I do not require your sleepless nights to make sure tomorrow arrives. When you finally close your eyes tonight, I will remain awake. I will continue working in ways you cannot see. I will still be caring for every detail of your life. That is why you can truly rest. You have not only my permission, you have my invitation. More than that, I lovingly command you to embrace the rest I have prepared for you, because it is part of the life I have always intended you to live. When you refuse to embrace rest, what is really happening beneath the surface is that you are believing everything depends on you. You begin to act as though your constant effort, your endless worrying, and your determination are stronger than my ability to care for you. That is not responsibility. It is control wearing the mask of responsibility. So today I am asking you, with both love and gentleness, to release it. Unclench your hands. Let go of the burden of trying to manage every outcome. Open your heart instead and allow me to be who I have always been, the one who sustains all things, including your precious life. Now I want to draw your attention to something that happens when no one else is around. I want to speak about the words you use in those private moments that only you and I hear. I am not talking about the careful words you choose in public when you want to appear composed and kind. I mean the words that slip out while you are sitting alone in traffic, the quiet complaints whispered under your breath when frustration rises, The things you tell yourself after making a mistake or while looking into the mirror. I mean the conversations you have about other people when you are venting to someone you trust, and the declarations you speak over your future, your health, your family, your children, and your own life. Those words matter far more than you realize. They are not empty sounds that disappear the moment they leave your lips. They carry influence. They shape your heart. They affect the atmosphere around you. There is life and death in the power of the tongue, and that is not merely symbolic language. It is a profound spiritual reality. When you wake each morning and immediately begin declaring how miserable you feel, how terrible the day will be, or how nothing ever seems to work in your favor, you are doing more than expressing frustration. You are laying a foundation. Every sentence becomes another brick. And over time, those bricks build the environment in which you live. So pause and consider the life your words have been constructing. Become more intentional about what comes from your mouth, not with fear or unhealthy self-consciousness, but with growing wisdom that asks, what am I creating with these words? Am I building something filled with hope, or am I tearing down something valuable? Begin speaking in agreement with what you believe I am doing instead of speaking only about what you currently see. If sickness has touched your body, do not spend every moment reinforcing illness with your words. Instead, declare that healing is at work, that your body is being strengthened, and that I am your healer who has not forgotten you. If financial struggles surround you, refuse to pronounce defeat over your future. Speak with confidence that my provision is sufficient, that my resources never fail, and that you belong to a Father whose generosity has no limit. I also want you to guard the way you speak about other people. Gossip has become so accepted that many no longer recognize it for what it is. It is often disguised as venting, processing emotions, or simply catching up. But whenever a conversation becomes centered on criticizing another person's failures, choices, or weaknesses, something harmful begins to take root. Those words damage not only the person being discussed, but also the heart of the one speaking them. The next time someone invites you into a conversation that tears down a coworker, complains endlessly about a difficult supervisor, or criticizes a neighbor, choose a different path. You do not need to make a dramatic statement or condemn anyone. Simply step away with quiet wisdom, or gently guide a conversation somewhere healthier. Your voice is far too valuable to be used as a weapon against people I love. Instead, let your word become a source of healing. Speak in ways that strengthen weary hearts. Offer encouragement that someone will remember long after the conversation ends. Words they will repeat to themselves before falling asleep because those few moments of kindness gave them enough courage to face another day. You cannot imagine how many people around you are longing to hear something honest, hopeful, and life-giving. Every day you have the opportunity to offer that gift, and all it requires is choosing love instead of habit. My beloved child, there is another spiritual practice I want to speak to you about because it has a power to transform your walk with me, yet it is often neglected or misunderstood. I am talking about fasting. Fasting is not simply a method of self-discipline or a way to improve your physical health. It is an act of worship. It is choosing to set aside the desires of your body for a time so that your spirit can draw closer to me. It is reminding your flesh, which often demands immediate satisfaction, that it does not rule your life. Instead, your spirit learns to lead. There are situations you are facing right now that require deeper surrender. You have prayed faithfully, yet certain habits remain. Some burdens have not lifted. Some doors have not opened. This does not mean I have ignored your prayers. It means that there are seasons when fasting becomes part of the spiritual battle, helping you seek me with greater focus and dependence. When you willingly abstain from food for a meal, a day, or however you are able, and you use every moment of physical hunger as an invitation to pray, something begins to change within you. The distractions grow quieter. Your spiritual sensitivity increases. My voice becomes easier to recognize. Chains that once seemed unbreakable begin to loosen. I know fasting is not comfortable. I know your body resists it. Hunger can make you tired, impatient, and uncomfortable. But that discomfort reminds you that your spirit is learning to lead while your flesh is learning to surrender. Every time you choose prayer over satisfying an immediate appetite, you are making a powerful declaration that your desire for me is greater than your desire for anything this world can offer. If fasting is new to you, begin with something simple. Set aside one meal and dedicate that time to prayer. Whenever you feel hungry, let it remind you to bring a person, a burden, or a need before me. Allow each moment of discomfort to become another opportunity to seek my presence. Trust that I see every sacrifice you make. Trust that I honor your obedience. And trust that even when nothing seems to be changing before your eyes, I am already moving in ways that cannot yet be seen. We remain committed to sharing hope, strengthening faith, and spreading the message of Jesus Christ throughout the world. If you would like to help us continue this mission, please visit our KOFI or PayPal links below. Your support allows these messages of hope to reach countless hearts that are searching for light. KOFI or PayPal links below. Your generosity reaches farther than you know, and your kindness is a blessing that words can never fully express. Now, my beloved child, there is one more truth I want to place gently before your heart. Listen carefully, because I speak these words with great love. I can see the walls you have built around yourself. Over the years, you have carefully stacked them one brick at a time until they became a fortress protecting your heart. I know exactly why you built them. You were wounded by people who should have loved and protected you. You were disappointed by those who called themselves family, close friends, or even fellow believers. You entered places where you hoped to find healing, yet instead you encountered criticism. You searched for genuine fellowship but found division, gossip, and people choosing sides instead of choosing love. Little by little, you convinced yourself that it would be safer to keep your distance. You decided that watching messages alone from your home was enough, and that walking this journey by yourself would spare you from being hurt again. My precious child, I love you far too much to leave you hidden behind those walls. I never created you to live in isolation. You were not designed to carry life alone. You belong to a living body of believers who need one another. Just as a hand cannot survive after separating itself from body, neither can any part continue to flourish when it chooses isolation. You need others, and others need you. I am not asking you to find perfect people because they do not exist. I am inviting you to walk beside ordinary people who are learning, growing, struggling, and depending on my grace just as you are. You need companions who will sit beside you during painful seasons, and you are called to become that kind of companion for someone else. There are moments that simply cannot be replaced by anything happening through a screen. When a trusted friend sits across from you, looks into your eyes, and quietly says, "I am here for you, and I am not leaving," something inside your heart begins to heal in a way words alone cannot explain. When someone unexpectedly arrives at your door with a meal after you have endured your hardest week, asking for nothing in return, another piece of your wall begins to fall. Those moments are holy. They are the places where my love becomes visible, where it is no longer just something you believe, but something you can truly experience. Those blessings become possible only when you are willing to step beyond your isolation and allow others into your life. I know that feels risky. I understand why those walls seem safe. I know that opening your heart means accepting that people, because they are human, will disappoint you again. Yet I still call you to choose love over fear. Be brave enough to love imperfect people within an imperfect community. When relationships become difficult, resist the urge to run away. Learn to forgive quickly. Extend grace freely. Ask for help without shame when you need it. And be present for others when they are carrying burdens too heavy to bear alone. Some of the richest blessings I prepared for you will never be found behind the walls of loneliness. They are waiting in the beautiful, imperfect, and life-giving reality of genuine relationships. My beloved, there is another matter I must lovingly address because it quietly affects many hearts. I want to speak to you about pride, not the obvious kind that seeks attention, but the hidden kind that often disguises itself as independence, self-sufficiency, or strength. It whispers that you should never need anyone. It tells you that everything you have accomplished came solely through your own effort, and that relying on others somehow makes you weak. The hidden pride that convinces you every success belongs entirely to you, that you alone deserve the praise for what you have accomplished. It is a pride that becomes offended when someone offers correction, challenges your opinion, or fails to give you the recognition you believe you deserve. This kind of pride is especially dangerous because it rarely announces itself. It disguises itself as confidence. It pretends to be wisdom or high standards, while quietly placing you at the center of a story where only I belong. Today I am inviting you to choose genuine humility, not the kind performed for others to admire, but the kind that grows in the secret places of your heart where only you and I can see what is true. Ask yourself with complete honesty, am I willing to learn? When someone lovingly points out that I am wrong, do I immediately defend myself, or do I listen with an open heart? When blessings come into my life, is my first response gratitude toward God or admiration for myself? When I serve people, is it because I sincerely love them, or because I hope they will notice and applaud me? These questions deserve sincere answers because transformation begins where honesty begins. Throughout history, the people I have used most powerfully were not always the most gifted, the most intelligent, or the most accomplished. They were the ones who recognized their complete dependence upon me. They understood that everything they carried had first been given to them. It is a surrendered heart that creates room for my strength. A vessel that insists it already has everything cannot receive anything more. But a heart that comes before me empty, willing, and open can be filled beyond anything it ever imagined possible. When you quietly accept responsibilities others avoid, when you encourage someone who has nothing to offer in return, when you willingly allow another person to receive recognition instead of insisting on your own, when you admit your mistakes and ask forgiveness with sincerity, that is where true greatness is found. It is not discovered in titles, applause, or public recognition. It is found in faithful obedience that quietly says, Lord, I trust you more than I trust myself. And now, my precious child, I want to turn your attention towards something filled with hope. I want to speak to you about the harvest that lies ahead. I know this has been a long season of sowing. It has often felt lonely, exhausting, and unnoticed. You have faithfully planted seeds where no one could see. You continued doing what was right even when there was no immediate reward. You remained faithful when giving up seemed easier. You kept showing up even when no one applauded your efforts. Now I want you to lift your eyes, because the season is beginning to change. Beneath the surface, I am already moving in ways you cannot fully see, though your spirit has begun to sense it. Something is shifting around your life. I am preparing circumstances that will surprise you. Doors that remain closed for years are approaching the moment when they will finally open. Relationships that have grown cold are capable of being restored. Situations that once appeared completely impossible will begin unfolding in ways you never expected. I do not tell you these things to raise empty expectations. I tell you because I want your heart to be ready when the harvest arrives. Preparation matters. If there's unforgiveness still hidden within your heart, release it. If there are habits that no longer align with the future I am leading you toward, leave them behind. If certain relationships continually pull you away from your purpose instead of drawing you closer to it, have the wisdom to create healthy boundaries. Clear away whatever would prevent you from receiving what I have prepared. Keep your heart uncluttered and your hands ready so that when I open the door, you can step forward without hesitation. Continue sharpening the gifts I have entrusted to you. If you feel called to write, then write faithfully every day, even when no one is reading. If leadership is part of your calling, practice integrity and excellence in the small responsibilities already before you. If teaching burns within your heart, study with diligence as though your greatest opportunity could arrive tomorrow, because one day it will. The work done in secret always becomes a foundation for what the world eventually sees. Hidden roots are what make lasting growth possible. I also want you to remember that your finest days are not behind you. I know there are moments when you wonder if your opportunity has already passed. The world may try to convince you that you have missed your chance, that your season has ended, or that it is simply too late. But I do not measure your life according to the world's timetable, nor do I recognize its deadlines. I am the God who instructed Noah to build an ark before rain had ever fallen. I am the God who promised a child to Abraham and Sarah when human reasoning declared it impossible. I am the God who takes what the world rejects and transforms it into something that displays my glory. I am fully able to do the same with your life. The years you believe were wasted, the detours you regret, the painful lessons you endured, none of them have been meaningless in my hands. I am weaving every experience, every trial, every failure that taught you wisdom into something far more beautiful than you can presently imagine. So remain faithful. Keep moving forward without losing heart. Do not let go of the work I have placed before you. The harvest is coming, and it will exceed what you have dared to ask or imagine. It will overflow so abundantly that you will be able to bless others with what I have first placed into your hands, because that has always been my design. Before we finish this conversation, there is one final truth I want you to carry with you, because it is a foundation beneath everything I have shared today. Every promise, every instruction, every encouragement, and every word of direction depends upon one relationship above all else, your relationship with me. Apart from me, you cannot accomplish what I created you to become. That is not a figure of speech. It is a spiritual reality. A branch separated from a vine does not simply become less fruitful. It gradually loses its life. In the same way, a person who tries to live independently from me eventually discovers that no amount of success can satisfy the deepest needs of the soul. The world encourages you to rely entirely on yourself. It tells you to become your own source of strength, to trust only your own abilities, and to build a life through self-sufficiency. For a time, that path may appear successful. Businesses may grow, wealth may increase, and recognition may follow. Yet if you watch carefully, you will discover that outward success alone can never fill the emptiness within the human heart. Achievement without me eventually feels hollow. Recognition loses its ability to satisfy. The pursuit never ends because there is a place inside every soul that was created for my presence alone. No amount of money, influence, admiration, pleasure, or worldly accomplishment can occupy that space. Only I can. So remain close to me, my beloved. Walk with me each day. Speak with me continually, not only during set times of prayer, but throughout the ordinary moments of your day. Let our relationship become a constant conversation between a loving father and a beloved child who knows they are never alone. When fear suddenly grips your heart, bring it to me without hesitation. When something fills you with joy, share it with me. When you face a decision and cannot see the right path, ask for my wisdom. When your strength has reached its limit, invite me to become the strength you no longer have. I am never distant from you, and I am never too occupied to listen. There is nothing more important to me than you. You are the reason I came for you. You are the reason I chose love over comfort, sacrifice over distance, and if it were necessary, I would willingly do it all again because of how deeply I love you. And now, dear friend, as this message draws toward a conclusion, if these words have encouraged your heart, I invite you to subscribe to this channel if you have not already done so. Turn on notifications so you never miss future messages designed to strengthen your faith, renew your hope, and remind you of the truths that matter for eternity. If someone comes to your mind while listening, share this message with them. It may become the encouragement they have been praying for. I also invite you to leave a comment below and share what part of this message spoke most deeply to your heart. Your testimony could become the very encouragement another person needs to keep believing. You are not simply watching from the outside. You are part of this family, and this community is richer because you are here. My precious child, before we finish, I want you to become still for a moment and look back over the road you have already traveled. Remember every season that brought you to where you are today. Think of the tears you cried when no one else could see them. Remember the mornings when getting out of bed felt almost impossible because you had no idea how you would survive another day. Think of the times you smiled in front of others while quietly carrying pain that no one knew existed. Remember the prayers you whispered while driving alone, the desperate conversations you poured out to me when your heart was so overwhelmed that words failed you and all you could offer were sighs, tears, and silent cries reaching toward heaven. Through every one of those moments, you made it. Every storm you believed would destroy you has passed, and you are still standing today. That was never chance. It was never luck. It was me. I was carrying you through every valley that seemed impossible to cross. I was holding together the broken pieces of your heart when you believed healing could never come. I need you to understand this with absolute certainty. Your being here today is not an accident. Out of every video you could have chosen, out of every direction your day might have taken, I gently led you here because there were words your heart needed to hear at this exact moment. I know the questions you have been asking. I know the fears you have tried to hide. I know the wounds you have carried in silence. Everything I have spoken today has been lovingly prepared for the place where you find yourself right now. So continue opening your heart, because the work I am doing within you is not temporary. These truths are taking root, and they will continue transforming you long after this message comes to an end. Every message shared here is created through prayer, careful preparation, and a sincere desire to bring hope, faith, and encouragement to every person searching for my truth. By supporting this ministry through KOFI or PayPal, you help this mission continue reaching hearts around the world with hope, faith, and the love of Christ. May God richly bless you for every act of generosity. Now I want to begin by speaking about something that quietly influences your life more than you may realize. I want to talk about fear. Not the obvious kind that startles you in a sudden moment or makes your hand shake before an important meeting. I am speaking of the silent fear that settles deep within the heart and quietly shapes your choices day after day without announcing its presence. It is a fear that whispers you will never be enough. The fear that if people truly knew you, they would turn away. The fear of failing so completely that there would be no way to recover. The fear of losing those you treasure most. The fear that tomorrow will bring more pain than today. The fear of living an ordinary life and reaching the end believing you never made a meaningful difference. These fears rarely shout. They speak in whispers. Yet their influence is powerful. They become invisible barriers that keep you from taking the very steps that could transform your life. They are unseen chains that persuade you to remain in a place that feels familiar while the life I have prepared waits beyond the door you are afraid to open. Today I want you to face those fears honestly, not with shame, because having fears does not mean you lack faith or courage. It simply means you are human. But healing cannot begin where honesty is absent. You cannot overcome what you refuse to acknowledge. So bring those hidden fears into the light with me. Let us look at them together, because fear grows strongest in darkness. It prefers to remain hidden, quietly repeating lies that go unquestioned. But the moment those fears are exposed to my truth, they begin to lose their strength. They no longer appear as overwhelming giants. Instead, you begin to recognize them for what they have always been, deception dressed to look convincing. The fear that tells you that you are not enough is one of those lies. I formed you with purpose. I created you with extraordinary care, intention, and love. And nothing about your life has ever been an accident. There is not a single part of you that I created carelessly. Nothing about your personality, your experiences, your abilities, or even the places where you feel inadequate was added by accident. The qualities you often label as weaknesses, the ways you believe you are different from everyone else, the areas where you feel incapable or lacking, those are not imperfections in my workmanship. Many times, they become the very places where my purpose shines most clearly through your life. Think about Paul the Apostle. He carried a burden that caused him great pain and pleaded with me 3 different times to take it away. Yet I chose not to remove it. Instead, I revealed that my strength is displayed most powerfully where human weakness is greatest. The place where he felt least capable became the place where my power was most clearly revealed. That truth was never meant to remain only in the pages of history. It is alive today, and it speaks directly into your life. What you consider your greatest weakness is not pushing you away from your purpose. In many ways, it is preparing you for it. Another lie fear whispers is that if people truly knew every part of you, they would no longer love or accept you. But listen carefully. I know everything about you already. I know every hidden thought you hope no one else will ever discover. I know every selfish motive that you tried to justify. I know every mistake, every regret, every moment when you failed to become the person you wanted to be. Nothing has ever been hidden from me. Yet not once has my love for you weakened. Not even for a moment. I am not waiting for you to become flawless before I embrace you. I loved you when you were at your lowest. I loved you in your darkest failures. I loved you through every moment that still fills you with shame. And that love has never changed, nor will it ever change. I am not promising that every person you meet will love you without conditions, because some will disappoint you, reject you, or walk away, and that can be deeply painful. But your worth has never depended upon human approval. The deepest truth about your value is rooted in my love, and nothing has the power to move or diminish it. Now I want to speak about something that feeds these fears more than almost anything else: comparison. It quietly steals your joy, distracts you from your purpose, and convinces you that your life is somehow falling behind. You glance at your phone, and within moments you are surrounded by images of people who appear to be succeeding in every area where you feel uncertain. Someone your age seems further ahead in their career. Someone you once knew now lives in a beautiful home. Another person appears to have the perfect marriage, perfect children, perfect health, and a perfect life. Meanwhile, you sit in the middle of an ordinary day wondering if you somehow missed the path everyone else discovered. But what you fail to see is that you are comparing your real life to carefully selected moments from someone else's. You are measuring your complete journey, with all its struggles, questions, and unfinished chapters, against a version of life that others have intentionally chosen to display. Few people share their sleepless nights, their anxious thoughts, the painful conversations behind closed doors, the disappointments, the private tears, or the insecurities they quietly battle every single day. You are exhausting yourself by competing in a race that was never meant to exist, chasing a finish line built upon appearances rather than truth. I never intended your life to mirror anyone else's. I created your journey to be uniquely yours. The path I designed for you is not a copy of another person's story. It has been carefully shaped around your gifts, your calling, your experiences, your season, and the purpose I have entrusted specifically to you. Every chapter has been written with intention. When you spend your energy trying to imitate someone else's timeline or measuring yourself against their milestones, you become distracted from the remarkable work I am unfolding within your own life. You become so focused on watching another person's story that you overlook the beautiful story I am faithfully writing through yours. Would discover that the story unfolding in your own life is far richer, more meaningful, and far more extraordinary than you have allowed yourself to believe. Today I want you to make a different choice. Stop measuring your progress by looking sideways at someone else's journey. Instead, look back and compare who you are now with the person you were a year ago. Notice the growth that has taken place. Remember the battles you have survived. See how much stronger, wiser, and more resilient you have become than the version of yourself who sat where you are 12 months ago. That is a comparison worth making. It is the only measure that reveals the truth about how faithfully I have been working in your life. My precious child, now I want to speak about your relationships because I see patterns that are costing you more than you realize. I see you holding tightly to people who repeatedly wound your heart because you fear what life might look like without them. I see you pouring out your time, your energy, and your affection into relationships where you are always the one making the effort, always the one reaching out, always the one sacrificing while the other person barely notices what you give. I see you accepting treatment that falls far below the value I have placed upon you, because somewhere inside you have begun to believe this is the most you can hope for. But I also see another pattern. There are people who genuinely care about you, people whose intentions are sincere, yet you keep them at a distance because you are afraid of being hurt again. They have done nothing to earn your distrust, but the walls built by past pain have become so high that even safe people cannot reach your heart. Without realizing it, you are protecting yourself from old wounds by shutting out the very love that could help bring healing. So let me speak truth into both situations. First, you were created for relationships marked by mutual care, respect, and genuine commitment. I am not speaking of perfection, because no relationship on earth will ever be flawless. I am speaking of relationships where both people choose to invest, where both are willing to work through difficulties together, where honor, kindness, and faithfulness flow in both directions. You are allowed to establish healthy boundaries. You are allowed to recognize when certain treatment is no longer acceptable. That is not selfishness or pride. It is faithfully caring for the heart I entrusted to you. At the same time, I gently challenge you not to let yesterday's pain become tomorrow's prison. The hurt you experienced was real. The betrayal truly happened. The disappointment cut deeply, and I understand why you built those walls. But remember this, my beloved, the same walls that keep pain outside can also keep healing from coming in. They block the love, friendship, and connection your heart still longs to experience. In time, with wisdom, discernment, and prayer, I want you to begin removing those walls one brick at a time. There is no need to rush. Do it carefully and thoughtfully. Allow trustworthy people to earn your confidence. Believe again that not every person will repeat the mistakes of the one who hurt you. Open your heart to the love I desire to bring into your life through others. There is another matter we must speak about as well, and I know it reaches deeply into your heart. It is forgiveness. I know there are people whose names still carry pain whenever you think of them. The weight of that unforgiveness has become heavier than you may realize. Many misunderstand what forgiveness truly means. They fear that forgiving somehow excuses what happened or pretends a wound was insignificant. That is not forgiveness at all. Forgiveness never denies the pain or declares evil to be acceptable. Instead, it breaks the invisible chain that keeps you tied to the hurt and to the person who caused it. It allows you to move forward without dragging yesterday's wounds into every tomorrow. Refusing to forgive rarely harms the one who caused the pain. More often, it slowly poisons a heart that continues carrying it. Bitterness keeps you imprisoned while the other person continues living their life. Holding on to unforgiveness is like drinking poison while expecting someone else to suffer the consequences. It never brings the freedom you hope it will. I know releasing that pain feels difficult because your wounds are real, but forgiveness is not a gift you give to those who hurt you. It is a gift you give to your own soul. It opens the door to freedom. Is there someone whose name comes to your mind even now? Perhaps it is a parent who failed to protect you, a friend who betrayed your trust, a spouse or partner who walked away when you needed them most, or someone in authority who abused a position they were given and caused deep wounds. I am not asking you to pretend those things never happened, nor am I asking you to place yourself back into harmful situations. I am asking you to place the burden of justice into my hands. Release your desire to make them understand every ounce of your pain or to carry the punishment you believe they deserve. Trust me to judge with perfect righteousness while you choose the freedom that forgiveness makes possible. You have carried this burden for long enough. Today can become the day you finally lay it down. My beloved child, now I want to speak about another gift I have placed within you, one that is incredibly powerful yet so often overlooked. I want to talk about your imagination, the vision you hold in your heart, the pictures your mind continually creates about your future and about what your life can become. Too many people use this gift in ways that work against them. Instead of imagining the possibilities I have prepared, they fill their minds with endless pictures of failure. They lie awake at night creating vivid scenes of everything that might collapse. They imagine the phone ringing with devastating news, the interview ending in failure, the relationship coming apart, or a doctor's report bringing fear instead of hope. They replay these imagined tragedies so many times that their bodies begin reacting as though those events have already become reality. Their pulse quickens, their breathing grows shallow, their muscles tighten, and anxiety takes hold. Not because something has actually happened, but because their own minds have painted frightening pictures and treated them as truth. Think about how much creative power is being spent on fears that exist only in imagination. I gave you the ability to imagine for a purpose, and that gift is incredibly powerful. The images you continually dwell on, the future you repeatedly picture, and the expectations you carry in your heart quietly influence the direction of your life. What captures your attention eventually shapes your outlook, your decisions, and your hope. That is why I want you to redirect this gift instead of allowing fear to control it. Spend a few quiet moments each day picturing the future I desire for you. See yourself walking in freedom, peace, healing, and fullness of life. Picture broken relationships restored where restoration is possible. See yourself doing work that reflects your purpose and blesses those around you. Imagine the chains that have held you for years finally broken. Picture yourself standing among people whose lives have been touched because you chose to be faithful to the calling I placed upon you. Do not do this as empty fantasy or as an escape from reality. Do it with faith, believing that I am leading you toward the good plans I have prepared. Let those promises become so vivid in your heart that every obstacle along the journey appears as a temporary delay rather than a permanent defeat. When you know where I am leading you, setbacks lose their power to convince you that the journey is over. This is not shallow optimism or simply trying to think happy thoughts. It is the spiritual discipline of fixing your heart upon my promises until they become more real than the difficulties standing in front of you. Consider Abraham. When he looked up at the countless stars, he saw the future I had promised him, even though every visible circumstance suggested it could never happen. He and his wife had grown old without children, yet he continued to hold tightly to the vision I had given him. That promise became stronger than what his eyes could naturally see, and it gave him the courage to keep trusting when reason alone would have told him to give up. In the same way, I have spoken promises over your life. Keep them before your heart. Return to them often. Allow them to shape your vision and guide your steps instead of allowing fear or doubt to determine your direction. My beloved child, there is something else I want to share with you.